Good evening, guys. Good evening. How are you? I'm so glad that you guys are chiming in tonight. It's me again, Ariel, coming over to take over for you all on Tuesdays. And I'm so glad to be here with you guys to talk about this topic of over questioning and asking yourself, why am I still single? Because I feel like as single women, we constantly ask ourselves these questions and we constantly wonder, what is the issue and why am I still single? So if you have asked yourself this before, if you are single and you are part of the Black and Married with Kids family and you are endeavoring to have that husband that you desire in your life, and you ask yourself this question, you're very honest and you really say, why am I still single out of all the people that I'm meeting? Why am I seeing these marriages? What's going on? Then you're in the right place tonight, because we are definitely going to help you to stop overthinking and question yourself about why you're still single. So if you do not know me, my name is Ariel. I am the co-owner of our company called Dunamis Women Enterprise. Dunamis, it literally means power. And in our company, we guide women of faith through spiritual mentorship, coaching, and prayer on how to dig deeper in their faith and gain emotional healing so that they can prosper within their life and relationships. And so tonight, I'm going to be joined by my mom as well. She is the other co-owner of the company, so I'm going to pull her in here because we really want to help you guys with this. And we thank Lamar and Ronnie for jumping on this platform. So if you're just now coming in, chat below. Tell me where you're from. Tell me your city, your state. I mean, meet new people every single time I'm on here. So please comment below to let me know where you're from, because I would love to shout you out and thank you for being on here right now. So I am so glad that you guys are here. And we are really going to dive into this. So tell me where you're from. Drop your name and your state. Also, if you ask this question, why am I still single? Comment below and say, yeah. Say, yeah, I want to know. Why am I still single? Because it is huge for you all to get the answer to our commenting below where you're from. We are definitely going to get into this conversation. So let me know, because I'm looking at all you all's comments. And I want to be able to help you guys with this. So as I'm adding her in, shout out where you're from so I can be able to see you all. And we are going to get started, because we're going to have a good conversation for you all tonight. So thank you, Lamar and Ronnie, for having us on this platform. Thank you for being able to share this platform with us as we dive into this conversation. So how to stop overthinking the issue of why am I still single? Why do we continue to keep asking ourselves these questions every single time? Sorry, you guys, I'm trying to bring her on, so you're going to see me touching it a little bit. So I'm going to look at you all's comments on my thing. So tell me where you're from, tell me your state, and we're going to get into this conversation of why are we still single. Now, here's the thing. As a single woman, when you are single and when you're asking yourself this question, the first thing that I've learned early on is that we have to be confident. Whoa, I totally dropped my phone, you guys. We have to be confident as single women. And we have to be confident in who we are as single women, because oftentimes we ask ourselves these questions because we're not fully confident in who we are. And one thing that I've learned when people always say, well, Ariel, why do I keep asking myself this question? Is because you have lost your sense of confidence. And so what I'm going to help you do is bring you back to a place where you are confident in who you are as a single woman, so that you don't have to overthink and put yourself in what I like to call a deeper place, asking yourself these questions over and over again of why am I facing this and why am I single? So the first thing, when people ask me this, the best thing that you need to understand is, when it comes to being single, when you're confident in your singleness, you know that you are not going to settle as a single woman. And by what do I mean by settle? Because a lot of women say this. They say, you know what, I'm not going to settle. I'm just going to wait for the one that God has for me. I'm going to wait for that great man. But there's a really deeper understanding that I want you to understand when it comes to settling, okay? Because settling is, oftentimes we look at the reality of the situation and what a man can bring to a situation, and we look so much at the reality that we're going to miss the reward that really is for us. And by settling, that's saying that I'm just going to accept what's good enough. I'm going to accept what I believe is good within my life, and I'm not even going to wait for the great things that's going to happen. And so when you are settling, here's a couple ways that you can stop settling. One is just because things look good on the outside, just because you're looking at the reality of things, does not necessarily mean that what that man has is for you. And how do you know what is for you as a single woman when it comes to being confident? Is you have to know what is your purpose. What were you necessarily put on? Because if you know your purpose and you know exactly what you were put on this earth to fulfill, then you will know the man that is presented to you also can meet you in that same type of way. And so when you think about settling and you look at the reality, you really look at a man and say, you know what, can I deal with this? Can I, when I look at him, are these traits the things that I necessarily want in my life? Don't look at the external of, oh, well, he has a good job, he can provide for me, but really think about your future and can this be a compatible person for my life? And what I always like to say, and what my mom would say also, is know your issues that you can handle. Because oftentimes we settle because we're so quick in getting in a rush of having a relationship that we oftentimes don't know what issues we can or cannot handle. So for me, I'm young, I don't have any kids, I've never been married before, so I already know that I don't want somebody that has kids. I don't want to deal with baby mamas. I'm sorry. That's just not me. So for me, although I am single and I'm asking myself, or I've asked myself, why am I single, or why am I dealing with this in a relationship? I have to know what I can or cannot handle. I cannot handle a man with children, because for me, I want whatever it is that I have in my relationship, I want to experience the first. I want to be when we are together, I want to be the first person that we have a child with each other. Now, some people say, Ariel, things aren't going to be perfect. I am firm and confident in what I desire for my life, that is necessarily what is going to be for me. And I do not believe that I have came this far to just settle for just anything. And so a lot of people like to tell you in your world, well, you are having too much standards, or you are holding yourself to a higher regard, that maybe you just need to lower that a little bit to get what is for you. And reality is, if you're confident in what is for you, then you will not settle for the things that are coming your way. And so if I look at the reality, if I look, this is what is being brought to me, and I just say, okay, well, it looks good. He looks like he can provide for me. He looks like he can do all these things. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just settle for the reality of what I see, and I'm going to miss the reward that necessarily what God has for me. And when I'm talking about overthinking this question of why am I still single, when you continue to feed yourself that thought and you start overthinking, you'll eventually start finding yourself settling in those situations. So what you need to start asking yourself is, you know what? I am single, and I'm single for a reason. Because your singleness is not a status. Your singleness is a statement. It is a statement that you can say to yourself that I am proclaiming that I'm not just going to something. So I'm being single for a purpose. Finally, you're going to be in, because I've been trying to hold my own.
I'm here, Ariel. I'm here.
I'm dropping the phone and everything. This is me being together for my Tuesday takeovers. And right now, I'm just all over trying to get you in.
Well, you know what? Mama got your back, girl. I got your back.
Thank you. Because I'm just like, oh my gosh. So this is my mom, Dee, and sorry for the early, mess ups that I was having with my phone and going over things. But I'm talking to them about overthinking and asking yourself, well, why am I still single? Because a lot of women continue to have this. And so what I was talking about is oftentimes we, the first thing is you can't settle as a woman. And we need to, sometimes women look at the reality of a situation and they look at, okay, well, this man can give me these certain things and it's good enough, but they fail to realize that if they settle for that, what they see, that they're going to miss the reward of what's being brought to them. So when it comes to being single, when you're questioning yourself, you find yourself easily settling in these situations because when you question yourself, it's like saying, girl, hurry up. I need to get in a relationship. So what would you say to that when it comes to women who constantly ask themselves that question and how they find themselves in settling situations?
A lot of us are trying to find completion in others, and only you can be complete within yourself. So in a relationship, single is about being whole. you know, and there's a difference, Ariel, between being healed and whole. So healing is going through a process of life and issues that I have encountered. But when I'm whole, it means I have come into an agreement with myself. And in agreement with myself, I am at peace with myself. So if I know that there's certain things that I can't settle for, not from an external standpoint, but from an internal standpoint. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a lot of people don't really, they know what they do, they know what they want, but they don't know who they are. So a lot of times we make decisions based upon the what and not the who. And you have to really take some
and I alluded to that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And I alluded to that because I said oftentimes we settle in these situations when we're overthinking and we're asking ourselves, well, why am I still single? When we really haven't asked them, we look at our singleness as a status instead of a statement, and understanding who we are and the purpose of who we are as women. So really, when I feel like when women overthink and they ask themselves these questions, one, they haven't became confident in their single season.
And well, let's look at it like this, because anytime you settle for anything, the underlying root is fear. Mm-hmm. Because I'm afraid that I'm not going to have what I ultimately want. So I'm just going to take this. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm on the bus and I want a car, but I know I have a certain type of car that I aspire to have, I can easily get tired of taking the bus or walking, and then the first car that's presented to me, although I don't have all what I require or need for the other car, I will end up settling just to stop walking or taking the bus. Mm-hmm. As if I just kept that journey and saying, you know what, I cannot settle for less than, because I know what I'm aspiring to have is going to take me further somewhere down the line. It's going to take me further. In a relationship, from a natural standpoint, and the key is natural, things look very bleak. I'm just so adamant and crazy by faith to believe that God will take another man from the dust just for me. And create what I need. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't already exist, Mm-hmm. So I have to continue to believe, but then on the other flip side of the coin, I have to say, Ariel, and most women don't know this, it's not what I want, but as a powerful woman, who am I assigned to?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
True. Yeah.
Because in a relationship, particularly a marriage, you got to know who you assigned to. I have to know. It's not about me settling. God, who am I assigned to? You could be richer than Cooter Brown, drunk as Cooter Brown, or broke as Cooter Brown. But I better know which Cooter Brown I'm assigned to.
Right. And that's what I was talking about before you jumped on, when we were talking about knowing what issues you can handle, but also knowing your assignment. And oftentimes when we just jump into things and we're asking ourselves, well, why am I still single? And you just look for the next thing, you can oftentimes either not be ready for the assignment, or you can either abort the assignment that is for you, but also knowing, okay, it may not look the best way that you aspire for it to look, because of the fact that not everything is how we fixate it in our mind of what it's supposed to be.
Okay, but listen to but understand this, and that's not a but based upon what you're saying. Mm-hmm. However, we're talking about spiritual. In my case, I'm talking about spiritual life and relationship coaching, not natural life and relationship coaching. God has assigned everyone spiritually to that person, which now in that assignment, that you're confident that you're able to handle that. There's no man or woman that's perfect. I love Black and Married with Kids. I love Lamar and Ronnie. But the main thing I love, Ronnie has a confidence that she is assigned to Lamar. Mm-hmm. Now, as great as he is in many aspects, he's a man. So regardless of it, she is assigned to him, and it causes her to walk in confidence that whatever may come their way, particularly from him being a man, I'm using them for an example since we Black are married with kids, you know what I'm saying? That confidence exudes from her as a woman. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm confident that you're my daughter. I'm confident that if you somebody snatch you, they're gonna bring you back because they're gonna get tired of hearing your mouth. They they have to be. I am assigned to you as a mother. I am assigned to you. So the very way God assigned you to me by putting you in my womb, you better know as a woman that there's a man out here who's assigned to you for a relationship. The key is, how do I know who I'm assigned to? It's not a natural thing, it's a spiritual thing. Nobody could have ever set this up but God. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Nobody could ever set it up, but you were assigned. Go ahead.
So that brings me to my other point, because when we are overthinking all the time of why we're still single, that means that we're getting frustrated with this waiting process. And I wanted to talk about a little bit of the waiting process, because when we continue to get so frustrated, and I've learned within my single journey that I don't really get frustrated. Like, why am I still single? Why am I seeing everybody married and I'm not? Because I've learned to wait for grace. In their waiting process and in their waiting season, that they don't know how to wait for grace. And so for you all, I want to stress that to you. I'm going to have her come back on, but it's so important for you to learn how to wait for great, because if you don't wait for great, you're going to end up missing what God has for you. And like we were talking about, that there is a great man that is out for you, but we get so frustrated in our waiting process that we fail to realize that there's a man that's being molded specifically for you. So speak to them about this waiting season and this waiting process, because we can get so impatient.
Okay. So I'm gonna let me give them some spiritual truth right now. And I know it's gonna blow their mind, but it's gonna help them understanding the waiting process, okay? Because it goes back to the assignment. Now, I don't know how spiritual or how biblically sound most people are, but there's a passage of scripture that I live by, and it's Ephesians 6:12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against spiritual wickedness in high places, against the darkness of this age. And it has a little bit more. But my point of me saying this is that oftentimes we take these things and we pull them. Now, if before you get to 6:12 in Ephesians, you also got to go through 6:1 and 11. And it talks about children. Obey your parents in the Lord. I'm going to run through it real quick. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger. People who had staff, servants, respect your masters. You will not find in there, it has instructions to the mother, who is because it has a statement that's talking about a family unit that is building a legacy. Okay, man and woman. Now, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. The woman's position is to understand that her warfare is assigned to her life and the legacy for the man that she's attached to. That's what makes me wait, Ariel, because the chief principality, the chief magistrate, the spiritual forces that's going to come against that man, you have the power to keep that away, annihilate the strategies, annihilate the schemes. That's why you're a powerful woman. Does that make sense?
Right.
Now, I'm not in no rush to go in no warfare. I'm not in no rush to go in no battlefield. Are you with me? Sit your butt down, because that's why marriages are failing and going through divorces, because people don't understand their warfare. The woman does not understand not only the man she's assigned to, but she doesn't understand the principalities that is going to come against her. That's why waiting is a blessing. Because it's not just coming against your marriage. It's just not coming against your home. It's not just coming against your bank account. You are a direct target. Because if you go to Genesis 3:15, the Lord put enmity. So that enmity is that I have to know how to channel my hostility. A lot of people are channeling their hostility in a marital aspect between one another. And your channeling of that hostility as a woman needs to go against the enemy that's coming to destroy your man, your children, and your family. That's why spiritual life and relationship coaching through Dunamis Woman, because as I'm teaching you, I teach you what principalities are assigned to you based upon your vision and your mission.
Right. And this is so important because when you're overthinking this question, where you're always saying, well, why am I still single?
Mm-hmm.
You're not really allowing yourself to be equipped within the process because you are so busy wondering, well, why am I still single? When is this person going to come? But you're not getting built up as a warrior. You're not getting built up
That's
to
key.
be able
That's
to
key.
learn how to fight.
And your single state is to allow you to get built up. A woman is built internally, not externally. A woman
Right.
is classified from her internal state, not her physical state. Just because you got hips and tits and you got a period and you think you all this, that doesn't classify you as a woman. It's how you are internally built up to be able to handle that which is coming your way based upon who you are assigned to. So your single state is for you to fall in love with yourself and to fall in love with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That makes
Yeah,
you wait.
that's true.
So
That's very
for
true.
So for young people, I mean, it's just, I could just use yourself as an example because I got a right to talk about you. You know what I'm saying? Has placed you in a position and a posture from a natural leadership standpoint where you also get guidance spiritual. So you got the twofold. So realistically, your life has been endowed with some things, but now God is building you up even as you're fulfilling your purpose to know how to handle that assignment for the man that's coming in your life. But no matter when you get married, you're going to always, in this case, in my case, have spiritual mentorship.
Right. Now, what would you say to women who have been married before and now they're back into their single season?
What I could say to them, like I'm saying to myself, I'm not new here. You have to grow here. I'm not speaking because I did it right the first time. Heck, ain't nobody never taught me this, and I've been in church all my life. Ain't nobody ever, gave me this. You know what I'm saying? You do things because it helps your guilty conscience and it helps you to make you feel morally sound. Marriage ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing about morals. Ain't nothing gonna do that. So I'm teaching this, Ariel, because I have been divorced, and as I had to go back and step back, I had to not just fall in love with Christ, but I had to discover who was Devetta. Who am I? That's a forever process. That's why
Right.
at this young tender age of my life, I don't mind waiting. Many people want it because they horny. Many people want it because they want to have sex. Girl, please. That overrated. Let me just tell you right now, overrated. Because I done counseled so many people and coached so many people, and it's good in the first time, but it's a whole lot of men who's frustrated because they can't get no tank tank.
So I know you wrote in your book, Great Man, What Art Thou? The Silent Cry of a Woman's Heart.
Yes.
For this also for single women too, who are really asking themselves, great man, where art thou? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that you got to shift your mindset a little bit instead of saying, well, why am I single? But also know that there is a silent cry of saying, God, I'm desiring this great man for my life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's nothing wrong with this desire and this asking for the great man. I do think there's something wrong with questioning yourself, asking why am I still single? Because one, that allows you to doubt yourself and who you
Mm-hmm.
are. That allows you to lose confidence in who
Mm-hmm.
you are as a woman. But I like how you said, great man, what art thou? Because it shifts your mindset a little bit to not say, well, why am I still single? But it's saying, I know there's a great man out there for me. But that book kind of helps them understand how to deal with this silent cry that we have as single women to be loved, to be affirmed, to be adorned, to be equipped to be with that great man that's in our life.
Right. And we were made. I see one of the uh, viewers says, I don't like being single, widow. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
I can relate to her. I'm not widowed, but I can relate to her. I don't like being single. However, it's not about me not liking it. It's me understanding the timing for that, for what the next
Right.
man requires for my life. I have to get built up for that. You know what I'm saying? And I have to really, really understand the purpose and the necessity. In this case, being a widow is different than being divorced. So it's not about the marital status, it's about the who. Life is always about the who, the who, the who, the who. Who are you assigned to? Who are you attached to from a spiritual perspective that only you could fulfill that assignment? Now, as it relates back to the book, hey, Marty, how are you? As it relates
I
to the
can't
book,
see any of the comments, so you gotta shout
yeah,
them
I
out.
got you.
I don't know if they're commenting or stating where they're from. I'm sorry, y'all, I can't see them. So yeah, you handle that in the aspect.
But as it relates to the book, The Silent Cry, it came from an aspect that I love it because it's not about what I say that God hears. It's about what I don't say. I don't even know what
Right.
I need. I don't even know what's, hey, Kadarius, I don't even know what I need. I don't even know what my heart is really saying. So sometimes we can say what we want, but I
Right.
want God to hear the silent cry that I don't know what to say. Lord, hear my prayer of what I don't know. Go deep down within my soul and what I can't convey. Because sometimes I don't even know what I'm feeling. Sometimes I don't even know how to pray. Sometimes I don't even know because I am single. Because
Right.
I am single. And when I'm single, particularly for a woman, we were never made to be uncovered. We came out of a man. That's why we long for them. But I got to long for the one that I came out of. Oh, now that's a post right there.
That's very true, though.
And ask God to direct you for the one that you long for, that you came out of, and not long for because you're lonely.
Right.
It's a difference. And that's why the book was written, Ariel, because greatness have issues.
It does.
And
And
oftentimes we overlook the issues because because we want to see about what's there that according to what we have. And Coretta,
right.
you know, that's why the silent cry, Coretta, is so important because you got to be confident that he hears your silent cry. And when he hears that, I got to get out of the way and say, Lord, have your way. I have a prayer that I just always say, Lord, have your way, what you say. I get that from my pastor. Lord, have your way, what you say. Exclamation point. Lord, have your way, what you say. Because what he's already said about my life, I got to get out of the way because it's that silent, deep longing that I have that he hears when I don't know how to convey it. Does that make sense?
No, it totally does. And so the last thing, and you guys can get a copy of that book at I put the link in the bio, bit.ly
Mm-hmm.
/ the Great Man Book. And you could get free shipping on the book when you get your copy and you go there. But please go there and you can get the copy of the book, Great Man, What Art Thou? The Silent Cry of a Woman's Heart. And if you're just now joining in, I'm sorry. My name is Ariel. This is my mama D, and we are the co-owners of the company
Yes.
Dunamis Women Enterprise, where we guide women to faith through spiritual mentorship, prayer, and coaching on how to dig deeper within their soul to get emotional healing, but also to prosper in their life and relationships as well through the power of
Yes.
God. And
Yes.
so we thank Lamar and Ronnie for having us on here. And before we leave, I definitely want you to kind of give some sound advice very quickly, just a little nugget to the women who are really struggling with this overthinking and feeling bad about themselves and going into a deeper state of depression because of the fact that they keep having this desire of why am I so single? How do we break this cycle of overthinking so much about our status?
I almost sang that song by Frozen. Let it go, let it go. However, easier
That was
said than
on beat, just to let you know.
I know. I don't want to give them all I don't want to give them all my skills, Ariel. They just met me. I'm just being introduced. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to downplay. You already had me preaching because you know you get me in that vein. I'm gone. However, the sound advice of overthinking, and I know that we're going to have a webinar coming up, but I want to just speak one of them. We have to learn, ladies, gentlemen, whomever, and this is the most difficult task. Hebrews 4 admonishes us to enter into his rest. In his rest. Now, if you go look at it, go to enter into his rest. Not my rest, his rest, because that's a place that frees my mind. That's a
Right.
place that causes me to say, God, it's yours, and I got to cast my care upon you. I love teaching the word with specificity because too often we're hearing a general word and we're just hearing it, but we don't know how to apply it because we have all these arresting issues and blocking us in our mind. Your soul, soul, consists of your mind and your emotions. And oftentimes, we as women, because we have a lot of emotional things going on, because that's where the enemy hits us directly in our emotions. And that's why he doesn't want us, I'm talking about the enemy, us to have a man, because the man for my life serves as my spiritual covering. So because the enemy wants to keep us prey, Prey, we have to really, really know how to pray, Pray, as we enter into his rest, because the emotional stress can cause us to overthink.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all
That's
get that?
very true.
It's a
Yeah, they're gonna
stronghold.
have to watch the replay, which thankfully
It's
they
a
watched.
stronghold.
Yeah.
It's a
No, it's true.
stronghold because it wants the emotions oftentimes are overriding your mind. It's supposed to be your mind and your emotions line up. But because we as women are spiritually abandoned, we are spiritually uncovered, we have been rejected, we out here on our own without the spiritual order of God, we are continuously being a direct target in our emotions, and the emotions cause us to overanalyze because now it's draining our thinking. Does that
Right.
make sense? I'm thinking
It
out of my
does.
emotions and not out of my logical senses.
Right.
Dreamer, did you get that? That's confirmation, Ms. Hyman. And if you really want to know how to eliminate that, you got to deal with some of those emotional damages. You got to conquer that. I
Yeah.
could be.
I
Go ahead.
and I think that you have because we gotta chime out in a little bit,
Okay.
but I think that you have a few spots left. You just launched your new group for your coaching program, a 3-month
I
coaching
did.
program to go deeper within your soul, within emotional healing, and deal
Yes.
with some stuff when
Yes.
it comes to life and
Yes.
relationships.
Yes.
And I want to say, I think you have 3 spots
I
left.
have I have
So
3 spots left, Ariel,
yeah,
and that's why I'm still here at the office because it's really a prep. I know every woman by name. I've heard her heart. You see what I'm saying? So now that those sessions are tailored with specificity for those women. That's why it's only a few. I'm not aspiring for 1,000, 100, or 50 right now, or 20. It's 12. I'm sitting here preparing for the 9. So if you want to come on in with the 3, please join us because it's your timing and your heart needs to not only be heard but regarded, and it needs to be healed.
yes. So if you want the link about the group coaching, just type below, I want the link, and we'll comment it to you, and we'll give you the
Yeah.
link to join the group coaching program. But we definitely want to thank you guys. We want to thank Lamar and
Thank
Ronnie
you.
for having us on
Yes,
here to talk
thank
to
you.
you all, because we know that overthinking and questioning yourself as a single woman is huge. But like you said and you mentioned, that we have to get out of our emotions and out of that state, but also be able to get deeper within our spiritual self and being sound and at rest in who we are as women. And I don't know if you were going to add something. Yeah.
And no, I'm going to say goodbye because the cleanup man is wanting to vacuum. But Sandra says she's want the link. Dreamer says she's want the link.
All right.
April
I'll
says
drop
she
the link
wants
for
the
you guys.
link. Coretta says she wants the link. So just put the link out there. And even if this slot is full, ladies, you can start preparing for the next one that's coming up because guess what? Life ain't going nowhere and life gonna be life. All right. Love you
All
all.
right.
Ariel, thank you. Ronnie, Lamar, thank you. I love Black and Married with Kids.
Yes, we love you guys too. And the link is in the top to get the book, Great Man with Art Thou. You get shipping on the book as well, but I'll drop the link below. Love you guys so much, and we'll see you all next Tuesday for our takeover. And sorry for my early mess up in the beginning, but you know, it's life. It happens. Love you guys so much, and have a good night.